Hey guys, and welcome to another edition of the Blu-Review, where today we're going to be continuing our look at the Star Trek film franchise, and we're going to look at Star Trek's 2, The Wrath of Khan, 3, The Search for Spock, 4, The Voyage Home, 5, The Final Frontier, and 6, The Undiscovered Country. I'm just going to do them all in one big long video. Okay, so after Star Trek, the motion picture was released, Paramount wasn't quite sure if they wanted to do another one. It was an incredibly expensive film, didn't make a whole lot of money, but at the time sequels were really, really popular, and so they thought, you know what, if we can get rid of Gene Roddenberry, if we can do it for a price, we can make Star Trek a profitable franchise. So they decided to make Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan. Now, by getting rid of Gene Roddenberry, they brought in producer Harve Bennett, who would work on the Star Trek films and through Part 5. He also brought in kind of sci-fi director Nicholas Myers, who had done the film Time After Time with Malcolm McDowell, who would appear in also Generations. And so he came in and sort of co-wrote the script, uncredited, and kind of took away all the mystique of Star Trek and turned it into a little bit more of a action-adventure picture, more pop sci-fi and less, cerebral sci-fi. And it became one of the most beloved film of the franchise. It is considered to be one of the best Star Trek movies ever made. It's considered to be one of the best sci-fi movies ever made. In my opinion, I like Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan. I don't love it as much as other people, but when you compare it to, say, the first movie, it's kind of like saying, this is Albert Einstein and this is Maria Einstein. And she's like, oh, hello, brother, what did you do today? And he's like, oh, I don't know, I just invented the theory of relativity. What did you do? I baked some strudel and made some buttons on your shirt. Oh, that's great. Star Trek 2 is amazing compared to Star Trek 1. It's so much fun, it's so energetic, it's a simplistic plot. Khan wants revenge against Kirk for a perceived wrong, and he just doesn't give a fuck. He's gonna, just kill everybody if he has to get his revenge. And ultimately, that's what makes it accessible and what makes it so much fun. Star Trek 2 is fantastic. Check it out. Picture quality about a 4-star. It's good, but it's not great. Again, it's a theatrical cut, so you get the original special effects. I thought they were fun, and I thought Nicholas Myers really brought a great energy, and he also gave warm character moments that kind of reintroduced these characters to us that we just didn't get in the first movie. Alright, Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. At the end of Star Trek 2, Spock disappears. They gotta go searching for him, but they are not allowed, because he disappears on some kind of planet or something that they're not supposed to go to, and they're like, fuck protocol, we're going, fuck you guys. Well, this Klingon ship is like, well, fuck you guys, and they start coming after him as well. And the Klingon leader is played by Christopher Lloyd. He's so awesome in this movie. Star Trek 3 sometimes gets a little bit of a bad rap, but I think in more recent years, fans have really come to appreciate exactly what Star Trek 3 is. I actually found this movie to be incredibly enjoyable. I thought it had some really great heartfelt moments. I thought it had some great acting from William Shatner, which you don't hear a whole lot about. And I thought Leonard Nimoy did a great job in creating a compelling storyline that didn't necessarily, have a whole lot of action, but still injected some humor, some action, all of those things, and I thought it was really, really great. And it's not better than 2, but it's a great companion piece for 2. And once you've watched 2, you just want to delve into 3, and it's satisfying. It's very satisfying. Picture quality on this one's about a 4-star. Up next is Star Trek 4: The Voyage Home. Star Trek 3 had been a little bit more cerebral, a little bit action, kind of a combination of the first two movies. And they really wanted to kind of go in a different direction. They thought it was getting sort of a little bit too heavy, and it wasn't as well received as the second one. So they wanted to try something different. And so Leonard Nimoy came up with this great story about what if they have to travel back in time to our day. That can cut down the budget because we don't have to do so much special effects. And they need something, but it's like really huge. And they come up with this idea of like, let's get a whale. Why the fuck not? Catherine Hicks is in this movie from Child's Play, from Seventh Heaven. I mean, she's in a bunch of stuff. And the chemistry that she has with William Shatner is really fantastic. I mean, it plays out like a very 80s movie, but it's so much fun. It's light, but it's kind of serious. It has a message, but it's not shoved down your throat. So you kind of get like that sense of like, it's just so enjoyable. It's the only Star Trek movie, maybe save for two, certainly for Star Trek fans, but anybody can appreciate this movie. If you've never seen an episode of Star Trek, or you've never seen any of the other Star Trek movies, you can watch this one. It's pure pop sci-fi. It's pure 80s fun. It's a great, great film and a great, great story. And I you know what? It is my favorite of the Star Trek movies. I think I like the new J.J. Abrams one maybe a little bit better because it's a little more action, it's a little more modern. But of the original films, this is my favorite. It has everything. Everything that I loved in 80s movies, everything I love in sci-fi, it's all in this one. And it's so funny, and it's so good. And you would think, you know, because it has that comic aspect to it, that it might ruin the film. But it doesn't. It works. Alright, coming up next is one of the most controversial of the Star Trek films, the Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. Between Star Trek IV and Star Trek V, a couple of big things happened. One, Gene Roddenberry restarted Star Trek as a television show called Star Trek The Next Generation. And there's actually a couple of years. This one came out in 86, this one came out in 89. So 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, you've got basically 3 years between the two of these. You've in 87, Star Trek The Next Generation comes out. Everybody had kind of moved on, but William Shatner wanted to direct. They all came back, and he directed this one. One of the things I like about it is I really love the cinematography. I really love how he kind of opened up the world. He made it seem as if it were a bigger movie than what it was. He made it seem as if there were some other things going on than what there were. There are moments in the movie that if you're a Star Trek fan, you will accept, like the fact that they sing row, row, row your boat and different things that would come off as being sort of corny or cheesy or stupid to a non-Star Trek fan. You just have to understand that that is very much a part of, in spirit, I guess, of what they would do. You gotta think, you know, those songs, you know, how are they going to be perceived 100, 200 years from now? Are they going to still be considered children's songs? Are they going to be considered some kind of high art? Who the hell knows? But I guess they could have found a better song, but whatever. It's actually not a bad story. It's actually not bad acting. I think DeForest Kelley has probably one of the best scenes out of any of the Star Trek movies. For him, he actually has a serious moment because usually he's sort of played for like as kind of bitching to Spock or saying some smart-ass comments. And this one he has like a really good dramatic scene, and that's really kind of for me what sort of saves it. But a lot of people don't like it. It is what it is for me. I enjoyed it. I'd seen it once before and I didn't think I was going to like it, but I actually did. I really enjoyed this one. Again, picture quality on all these is going to be about a 4. Alright, finally, Star Trek VI. The Undiscovered Country. Now, the Undiscovered Country is peace between the Federation and the Klingons being one of the main villains from the original series and ultimately from this film series. And after a disaster happens and they need Federation help for relocation and all that kind of stuff, they decide to make peace. But some of the Klingons are not quite sure if they want to make peace or not. So the Federation kind of goes in and tries, and it's sort of a murder mystery mixed with Star Trek and mixed with everything. Basically, Nicholas Myers returns as the director. This is Harve Bennett leaves as the producer. You get a story in here by Leonard Nimoy, and it's a really great writing. It's a really great kind of send-off. It's not amazing, like it's not like Star Trek 2, but you know, it's a really good movie. It's really fun. It's really enjoyable. The characters are really good. The dialogue is really good, although they do steal a lot of Shakespeare dialogue. Overall, I thought it was a highly, highly enjoyable film. It was the first time I watched it, but I thought it was really enjoyable. I thought it was a lot of fun. So that's Star Trek. Now, in this particular set, if you get the white box edition, you also get a bonus disc. It's 70 some odd minutes long, and basically what you get is Shatner and Nimoy and Patrick Stewart and Jonathan Frakes and Whoopi Goldberg from The Next Generation. They basically sit around and tell funny stories. A lot of it's just like crap they encounter on the show and at conventions and stuff. It's a fun kind of thing, but you know what? It's not like the most necessary thing. It is what it is. If you want to get the set, if you find it for fairly cheap, absolutely recommend it. If you'd rather get them individually, you can do that now as well. It's a 6-disc set. The picture quality on it, like I said, they're all about a 4. The audio, depending on your setup, is going to range between a 3 to 4, maybe even a 4.5. All of these have 7.1 Dolby True HD audio on them. That will not continue for the next gen set. I definitely recommend picking this up. So, till next time.